Do you have pain and swelling on the inside of your arch and extending to the inside of your ankle? Have you not fallen down and gone boom, but all of a sudden you've got all this pain and swelling in your ankle joint, and it's really towards the inside, not the outside, where you usually would have sprained it? Well, this is commonly posterior tibial tendonitis, or even worse, it could be posterior tibial tendon dysfunction. Posterior tibial tendonitis is just simply inflammation of the posterior tibial tendon, which is this gigantic tendon that holds up the arch of your foot. Who gets posterior tibial tendonitis? People who were born with a slightly flat foot or a real flexible arch, people who have a lot of repetitive stress, like you walk on your feet all day. Oh, that could be everybody. Or maybe I stand on my feet as a factory worker, or I run, jump, and play with the other kids quite a bit. Runners get this very commonly, and it really hurts in a specific spot that's about the size of your thumb, right on the inside of your ankle. That pain and swelling continues and sometimes can even shoot pain all the way up your leg, so you might think you have shin splints, but it's still posterior tibial tendonitis. Now what happens if I leave it alone and I just kind of ignore it and keep running? Because I got that 20-mile run to do, doc, I've got things to do. Or I don't have time, I can't take time off from work. Well, posterior tibial tendonitis can turn into something called posterior tibial tendon dysfunction, which is really as bad as it sounds. Posterior tibial tendon dysfunction is actually tearing of the posterior tibial tendon. So think of it as it's like spaghetti that starts to break one fiber at a time, or one piece of spaghetti at a time. And that spaghetti starts to actually lengthen the tendon because of breaking little fibers. And then your arch gets progressively flatter and flatter and flatter. Now this usually happens in older women, is the most common, but older men can have it too. And what do I mean by old? Because of course, I'm at that age where 60's not so old anymore. But usually it will be 50 and over, or somebody who does a large amount of running or walking in their 40s. It's very uncommon for someone to have posterior tibial tendon dysfunction under the age of 40, but tendinitis is quite common. So what do we do for them? I mean, one doesn't sound so bad, the other one sounds terrible, and it really is. So if you treat it when it's posterior tibial tendinitis, we treat it with an over-the-counter arch support, ice, rest, getting rid of all the swelling with some compression. Sometimes you have to go into a cast, sometimes you need some physical therapy, oftentimes you'll need a custom foot orthotic. But all of those things are pretty benign when we start talking about posterior tibial tendon dysfunction. So now the tendon's torn, you've ignored it. Your foot's way flatter than the other foot, and you're in serious trouble. Sometimes people are not good surgical candidates just because of the fact that their foot's really flat to start with, they're older, it's really torn, and they're just not a good surgical candidate, or they don't want surgery. Then you're gonna wear a permanent brace the rest of your life, but we can still get you back, and I can get you into really cool shoes that will actually accommodate for it. But that's not what we really want. What we would really want at that point is to go in and surgically correct it. So we don't just fix the tendon because of the fact that oftentimes it's just gonna tear again. Think of it, it's spaghetti, right? And it's already weak. So oftentimes we'll actually go and do a little bit of fusion of the middle of your foot so that you have a little bit better arch. But we can talk more about that. If you have pain and swelling in the inside of your arch or inside of your ankle, you really should be seen right away. So either contact us on the website or give us a call and come on in, because I'd rather look at it when it was tendinitis than to have you suffer through posterior tibial tendon dysfunction, which can be life-changing.